Not all demons arrive in silence. Some know how to make an entrance. Paimon is one of those demons. He doesn't hide, nor does he fade into shadow or slip quietly through the veil. He announces himself, loudly, proudly, with a kind of unnerving dignity that demands attention, and more importantly, obedience. Unlike other demons who deal in secrets or seduction, Paimon deals in structure. He is a teacher, a commander, a king, and he expects to be treated like one. His name doesn't just echo through grimoires and magic circles, it carries the weight of command. To speak his name is to summon more than a presence. It is to invite protocol. Today marks episode 2 in our series on the 72 spirits of the Ars Goetia, the first book of the Lemegeton, a 17th century grimoire that claims to catalog the spirits once bound by King Solomon himself. These spirits, according to legend, were sealed away in a brass vessel, only to be summoned later by those willing to brave the dangers of arcane ritual. Each demon listed in the Goetia has their own rank, their own court, and their own set of skills. Some offer wisdom, some bring ruin, some disappear as quickly as they come, but not Paimon. When Paimon is summoned, it is an event. His voice is loud, his presence unmistakable, and his demands clear. He does not tolerate sloppy summoning or half-hearted offerings. He is a monarch among monarchs, a figure whose reputation throughout occult history has remained strong, sometimes feared, often respected, and always carefully approached. This is the story of Paimon, the demon king of the West, from the Ars Goetia. Long before his name echoed in occult rituals and infernal invocations, Paimon may have walked among the angels. Like many of the 72 spirits catalogued in the Ars Goetia, his past is cloaked in contradictions. Some texts claim he was once an angel, either a dominion or a cherubim, but fell from grace along with many other angels. However, the truth is hard to pin down, and like much in demonology, his origin depends heavily on who's telling the story and when. In some versions of his tale, Paimon stands in direct opposition to Haziel, a name associated with mercy and divine favor. The contrast between them is sharp. Paimon as the authoritative force of command and insight, Haziel as the gentle servant of grace. But again, this isn't universal. These pairings shift across time and tradition, leaving us more with speculation than certainty. What we do know is that by the time medieval grimoires were being compiled, especially the Lemegeton and its first book, the Ars Goetia, Paimon had already been firmly situated as one of the kings of hell, alongside Bel. Not just a demon, but a monarch. He is described as fiercely loyal to Lucifer and commanding 200 legions of spirits, many of which are said to have been angels themselves before the fall. His name appears frequently in conjuration texts, often accompanied by detailed rituals, signs, and offerings meant to summon him safely and respectfully. Unlike other demons who might be invoked for base desires or chaotic power, Paimon has always been associated with knowledge, especially things hidden or obscured. He is said to reveal the secrets of the earth, teach all arts and sciences, and grant dignities to those he deems worthy. He governs over music, philosophy, and hidden truths, and while other spirits might offer deals, Paimon offers structure, hierarchy, clarity. He is a figure that blends the old with the forbidden, part royal counselor, part ancient power. And whether he once stood near God's throne or not, by the time his name entered the Goetia, he had claimed a throne of his own. Paimon does not appear as a beast or a horror. His form, though strange, is structured, regal even. Most descriptions depict him as a man with a strong, commanding face, crowned and seated upon a dromedary, cloaked in fine garments. His crown is not symbolic, it is literal. Tall, radiant, adorned with jewels or sun-like rays, it reinforces what every summoner is meant to understand from the start. This is a monarch, and he expects to be treated as such. His approach is often heralded by sound, strange music, symbols, and voices rising in chant. Some say a host of spirits travels with him, singing in tongues or announcing his name with layered voices that overlap in perfect unison. It's not chaotic, it's ceremonial, like the entrance of a royal procession, impossible to ignore, yet calculated in its grandeur. This, too, is part of who he is. Paimon doesn't simply appear, he is announced. His demeanor reflects everything about his station. He does not speak idly. When he chooses to answer a summoner, his words are sharp, refined, and delivered with weight. He can be incredibly direct, impatient even, if he senses the one who called him is wasting time or lacking discipline. But when approached correctly, he is articulate, deliberate, and even generous. He teaches clearly. He offers detailed answers. He can speak at length about arts, sciences, philosophy, and secrets hidden beyond ordinary understanding. But he has no tolerance for disorder. His manner is strict, his tone is firm. To treat Paimon casually is to invite silence, or worse, scorn. Some accounts suggest he tests a summoner's composure the way a general might test a new officer, not out of cruelty, but because respect is not assumed. It must be shown. Yet for all his authority, Paimon is not cruel. He does not punish unnecessarily, nor is he prone to malice. His behavior, while commanding, is consistent. Those who follow the correct rites, who speak with respect, who understand the value of formality, these are the ones who walk away from the encounter with knowledge rather than regret. In this, Paimon is one of the more stable spirits in the Ars Goetia. He rewards clarity, he dismisses sloppiness, he mirrors the nature of rule itself, firm but not unkind, proud but not erratic. Those who summon him often find themselves being evaluated just as much as they seek to gain insight. And in the presence of Paimon, pretension doesn't last long. Because where he stands, there is no room for disorder, only hierarchy, only law, only the will of a king. Paimon is not a spirit of impulse or destruction. His strength lies in command, over knowledge, over lesser spirits, and over the mind itself. Of all the demons in the Ars Goetia, he is among the most articulate, the most instructive. His domain is not the battlefield but the court, the place where decisions shape the world without a sword being drawn. He is said to possess knowledge of all things, both hidden and mundane, mathematics, philosophy, natural sciences, arts, and the secret languages of spirits and men. Nothing is outside his reach, and nothing is given freely. Paimon values structure and hierarchy, and the information he imparts often reflects this. He teaches step by step, he reveals in order, and he expects the summoner to follow that same discipline. More than a teacher, Paimon is a master of influence. He grants authority over others, not through brute force, but through persuasion, presence, and command. His gift is not domination, but the ability to lead. Summoners who have called upon Paimon often ask for favors involving status, leadership, or control over subordinates. And Paimon delivers, but with a price. Influence in his hands is not a trick, it is a craft. He teaches how to speak, how to hold oneself, how to use knowledge as leverage. Those who want shortcuts often walk away empty-handed. One of his most defining powers is his command over legions. He is said to lead a massive host. Some texts say hundreds of legions. Others place the number closer to 200, depending on whether Paimon appears alone or in conjunction with certain spirits. His legions obey with precision, but they do not respond to chaos. Like their king, they are drawn to discipline. Paimon's presence also brings visions, sights of other realms, glimmers of future events, or revelations of what hides beneath the surface of human affairs. These are not overwhelming trance-like experiences. They come with clarity, and often with instruction. He may guide the summoner in interpreting what they've seen, not through riddles, but through careful breakdowns. And though he is a king, Paimon does not act as a gatekeeper to dark or forbidden rituals. He may assist with magical operations, but always with a sense of formality and order. He does not endorse reckless summoning or haphazard dealings with other spirits. If he aids in such efforts, it is typically through providing structure and oversight rather than brute force. Among the 72 spirits, few offer as much clarity, power, and precision as Paimon. He is not the most feared. He is not the most violent, but he is, without question, one of the most effective. Not because he grants power, but because he shows you how to wield it properly. Hey everyone, just a quick intermission here. I wanted to say thank you for watching this video. It really means a lot to me. Did you know that over 80% of you who are watching right now aren't subscribed to the channel? If you've enjoyed this content so far, it would be incredible if you could hit that subscribe button. It's a small gesture, but it really helps the channel grow and ensures that you won't miss any more of our fascinating stories we explore together. Also, if you're feeling generous, please give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, and share with anyone else who may enjoy it. Your support really does make a difference and keeps the content coming. Thanks again, and let's get back to the story. Of all the spirits in the Ars Goetia, Paimon's rituals are some of the most detailed and the most rigid. Summoning him is not a casual affair. It requires focus, timing, and above all, respect. If other spirits can be approached with confidence or cunning, Paimon demands ceremony. The grimoire descriptions are precise. Paimon is most effectively summoned during the day, under the direction of the northwest, and with accompaniment. Unlike many spirits who appear alone, Paimon is often preceded by a host of musicians, spirits playing horns, cymbals, and other instruments. The sound is not just spectacle, it signals arrival. His presence is theatrical, but it's not for show, it's tradition. A heralded king does not enter silently. The summoning circle must be flawless. Errors in the sigil, pronunciation, or structure of the invocation are said to either weaken the connection or outright offend him. His sigil, distinct and ornate, acts as a key, and his name must be called with force, not shouted, but projected, as if announcing the entrance of royalty, not demanding its presence. Paimon appreciates offerings, but not all offerings are equal. He does not hunger for blood or crude sacrifices. Instead, he favors things that reflect order, learning, and refinement. Fine incense, especially frankincense, is often used to please him. A clean space, a steady voice, a composed mind. These are the real offerings. In some traditions, golden coins, artful items, or even musical compositions are left as tribute, not for bribery but acknowledgement. If summoned successfully, Paimon will speak. Not always immediately, and not always at length, but with clarity. He tends to be direct, sometimes blunt, but rarely dismissive. He will not flatter, nor will he tolerate arrogance. If the summoner oversteps, he will leave. If they persist, consequences may follow, not in fire or chaos, but in confusion, delay, and disorder. One of the lesser-known aspects of summoning Paimon is the use of titles. He is often referred to as King Paimon or His Majesty. Paimon reacts to status and hierarchy. Addressing him properly sets the tone. Ignoring this part of the ritual may not anger him, but it will shift the dynamic. You are no longer a guest in his court. You're a petitioner who forgot protocol. If another spirit is summoned before him, and Paimon is brought in to oversee or govern that spirit, his demeanor becomes sharper. He will enforce discipline among spirits, just as he does among mortals. But if the ritual is sloppy, and multiple spirits are brought forth without proper structure, the result is often silence, or worse, confusion among the summoned entities, leading to broken pacts or incomplete knowledge. Summoning Paimon, then, is not about power, it's about precision. It's not about commanding, it's about knowing your place in the exchange. He doesn't expect fear, he expects formality. And those who understand that often walk away with more than they asked for. While Paimon may not appear as frequently in folklore or exorcism records as some other spirits, his presence has steadily grown, especially in modern occult circles and pop culture. But long before film and fiction rediscovered him, his name was whispered among ceremonial magicians who knew that summoning Paimon was not a game of chance, but a negotiation with consequence. Historically, Paimon's influence was strongest among European grimoires from the Renaissance onward. Particularly the Ars Goetia lists him early in its hierarchy, placing him among the top spirits of hell. His detailed descriptions, formal procession, and role as an enforcer of order set him apart. Where many spirits offer trickery or shortcuts, Paimon provides guidance through structure. For that reason, he became a figure of interest among those who approached magic with method: philosophers, scholars, ritualists. He is mentioned in various texts as a master of knowledge, particularly in matters of secret wisdom, the nature of the mind, and the understanding of divine mysteries. Unlike spirits who deal in wealth or desire, Paimon offers insight into how systems work, both human and metaphysical. His influence is often subtle, but deep. He grants the kind of understanding that doesn't just answer a question, it changes how the question is asked. More recently, Paimon's name surged into broader consciousness through horror media, most notably in the film Hereditary. There, he was presented as a demonic force tied to madness and ritual sacrifice. While striking, that portrayal took heavy liberties. The real Paimon, as presented in classical texts, is not a mindless force of horror. He is intelligent, composed, and governed by rules. If he causes madness, it's through imbalance, when humans approach him without understanding or respect. Not because he seeks destruction, but because he will not accommodate chaos. In modern occult practice, Paimon has become one of the more commonly invoked spirits among those exploring the Goetia. Many describe his influence as commanding but fair, stern but illuminating. Some claim that during invocations, they experience a strange pressure in the room, as if the atmosphere thickens. Others describe hearing faint music or sensing a presence that watches, but does not immediately engage. Those who proceed with care often report dreams filled with symbols, insights that arrive days later, and sudden clarity in matters that once seemed tangled. He is sometimes honored not just as a spirit to summon, but as a figure to learn from, especially in disciplines that blend magic, psychology, and philosophy. Some view Paimon as a symbolic teacher, a personification of the mind's potential to structure the unknown. Others treat him quite literally, a monarch of spirits who demands protocol and in return opens doors few others can. Either way, his legacy continues, not in loud miracles or dramatic possessions, but in the quiet shift that happens when someone finally understands a truth they've been circling for years. Paimon doesn't chase recognition, but he rarely goes unnoticed. Paimon's place in demonology is not built on horror or spectacle, but on something far more compelling: structure. Every detail surrounding him points to meaning: the crown, the procession, the trumpet, the rules. Nothing about Paimon is random, and that alone sets him apart in a realm often filled with chaos and contradiction. Symbolically, Paimon represents mastery, not of brute force or emotional manipulation, but of understanding. He is the embodiment of precision, of intellect applied with purpose. Where other spirits tempt with shortcuts, Paimon offers the longer path, the one paved with study, discipline, and uncomfortable truths. His association with knowledge isn't limited to facts or data. It includes understanding hierarchy, influence, the workings of the soul, and the structure of both heaven and hell. He's also tied to the concept of loyalty, though not sentimentally. His allegiance is not to individuals, but to balance. Paimon, according to older texts, will speak the truth if commanded, even against the will of another spirit. This makes him dangerous to summon improperly, not because he deceives, but because he doesn't soften his answers. His insight can be sharp enough to wound. Modern interpreters sometimes frame Paimon as a representation of the rational mind, the part of us that seeks to make sense of the ineffable, even if that effort bends the soul. Others see in him the dangers of overstructuring one's life or spirit, of placing intellect above intuition until meaning becomes mechanical. He can inspire, but he can also trap, if misused. He isn't chaos in disguise. He's control in its purest form. To invoke Paimon is to invite order into the darkest places of thought, not always comfortably, rarely gently, but always with purpose. And that is why he endures, not just in old books and ritual circles, but in the minds of those who seek to understand not just what the world is, but how it really works.